All right.
Good show, guys.
All right. Rock and roll.
For the people that built the country to make you that fucking money.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, all of a sudden now you worried about being bankrupt when you spent trillions of dollars on defense, trillions of dollars on unnecessary bullshit, trillions of dollars to send black men, especially to jail, trillions of dollars to drug the fuck up our whole country, trillions of dollars to fuck the food up, to fuck the air up, to fuck the water up, trillions of dollars to make people sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker in this country, but you mad? We don't have the money because, and this is what I think, and this is what I believe, you just don't like black people. Plain and motherfucking simple, you do not like black people. It is very obvious. For hundreds of years, we've been the most hated. The most hated, but within that hatred comes the hypocrisy of loving our culture. You've made trillions off of our motherfucking culture. You know that. You've made money off our culture. Let's be real. 100%. You've made money off our culture. White musicians, all of them have made money off of black fucking culture. All of rock, all of jazz, motherfuckers, all the shit we created from the oppression, which is fucked up in itself. The oppression and the fucking abuse and the rape and the putting down of us, we create blues, jazz, rock and roll, reggae, ska. We invent all of that shit. And to top it off, we invent all the modern shit that you all use. From the video game cartridge, Henry Lawson, We got the pacemaker, Otis Boykin. We have the late Dr. Bath, who created the laser eye surgery. We have Dr. Gladys, who's still alive, who's almost 80 years old, who created GPS. We have the guy who created the algorithm for Instagram, who's a 21-year-old Ghanaian kid. We've done all this shit. Then the internet was discovered by a Nigerian guy in the 80s. Like, we've done all of this innovation, even though we've been shit on and continue to be shit on every motherfucking day, right? Because nobody wants us to live anywhere. Nobody wants us to have this unless we're playing sports for them. Like I said, unless we're academically, right? No, I'm sorry, athletically or sexually satisfying motherfuckers. That's all black people are good for. We're supposed to be at people's beck and fucking call when they want us to entertain them or make them some kind of money. But if we ask for being autonomously wealthy on our own, being autonomously having our own shit, all of a sudden everybody pitches a bitch. Everybody has a fucking hissy fit. People get mad when you don't want us in your neighborhood. You don't want us in your schools. You don't want us doing anything. But then when we say, hey, okay, that's cool, because Muhammad Ali said in the 60s, he said, hey man, I think we should have our own state. I don't want to live
Love God, great.
That could have been the whole show. Just let him keep going.
If you say, I got black friends, and you can't empathize with what the plight that they're going through right now, you don't have black friends. You know black people. There's a difference between the two.
That is true.
See, that's what we're starting to see when they speak out. The Brian Urlachers and all these others talk about, I got black friends. No, you know black people because you lack empathy. You see what they're going through. You see what's happening, and you pretend because it's political.
You don't have black friends, you know black people.
Do you believe that? Do you believe all white people are inherently racist?
So, I don't know if you're backing me into a corner with that question, but yes, I do.
All right. First of all, I want to start off by saying the audacity of this white woman to even ask such a question. They were having a dialogue about critical race theory, and she just threw this question in there. But since she did, let's get at it. This type of question is like asking, are all people inherently thieves? A lot of people will say, I've never stole a thing in my life. But then the question has to be asked, have you ever been put in a circumstance that strips you down to the core of who you are? Like, would you steal if you were starving? Or have your children ever been hungry? Your answers change based off of things like that. Well, the legacy of white supremacy has created a world that white people don't have to be racist in today. This is why it's so crazy when you run into somebody who actually is racist. It's like, you guys won. and got away with everything. What are you mad about? What are you tripping about? Follow the language. Wherever you find their language, you will most likely find the most brutal forms of rape, torture, murder, pedophilia, slavery, deception, etc. How many Africans do you have speaking French, but they're not from France? Go all through South America, you'll run into black, brown, and red people who are speaking Spanish and they're not from Spain. Ask the Congolese people what happened when they came into contact with the white folks coming out of Belgium. Over 10 to 15 million of them murdered, mutilated, killed, children's body parts being hung up in the middle of the streets to make an example of who's in power there. Go to Brazil and see original people speaking Portuguese, but they're not from Portugal. Ask the Aborigines what happened when they came into contact with white folks in Australia. Hell, I'm speaking English right now, and ask the African and the Native Americans what happened when we came into contact with the English. Go to Bermuda and watch the Queen of England on their money, etc., etc., etc. The same story. Different countries with different white folks who all woke up with the same idea to go around the world and brutalize indigenous people. So the barbaric whites come in and take everything, and then the good whites come behind and drink tea and treat you right? Maybe you don't have to show inherent racism because you inherited a legacy of racism that affords you the privilege to not have to be racist. Yeah, it's easy to be nice when 91% of nuclear warheads is owned by Russia and America. How we all act when Africa is a superpower with weapons of mass destruction like every other independent nation? Because ain't nothing more dangerous or racist than a scared white person. Could you trust a nigga with a trigger? I do believe that there are solid white folks in this climate who may want better for all. White people today have the chance to show a better face through action, not through lying about history. Like how public school taught me that the first president, George Washington, never told a lie and then skipped over all the slaves that he owned. Bottom line, our days of trying to figure out if there are some good white folks, those days are over. Our only job is to produce independent culture that empowers us, that protects us, and that makes us less vulnerable to every damn thing.
Facts.
Wow.
Bars, son.
Mic drop.
So this is Carolyn Bryant, and this is how she looked in 1955. And this is how Emmett Till looked at his funeral in 1955 as his mother, Mamie Till, and her future husband, Gene Mobley, looked on. And this is the headstone for Mamie Till Mobley today, since she died in 2003. And this is the headstone for Gene Mobley, since he's been dead since 2000. And this is how 88-year-old Carolyn Bryant looks today, quietly living her best life, a best life provided for her because an all-white jury found her husband and her stepbrother not guilty in the murder of Emmett Till based upon the lies she told. So when you all run around here and tell me systemic racism and racism doesn't exist anymore, I would like for you to give me a goddamn date that it stopped existing.
One more. This one.
Life of a black FedEx driver in Louisiana.
I'm about to call FedEx on you.
You want the number?
What?
You want the number?
I don't need no number. You want to fight? We'll go down the road, bitch. I'll beat your bitch ass up. I really live like this, boy.
Oh, shit.
Boy, you stop.
Oh, Lord.
Get the fuck out of here.
I got deliveries to make.
You're stop fucking flying through here, bitch.
Ooh. Lord. Hey, Merry Christmas to y'all, though.
Man,
fuck you, your mama, and your
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Hey, this is the everyday life of a fetish guy, a black fetish guy at that, man. We got crackheads out here, man. These boys.
Those are people they don't show on TV. White people that they keep on the down low. One more.
Why don't we stop saying and replace it with the N-word?
Plan in the basement said, quote, "We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more big shots."
I'm so glad you asked, and buckle up, this story is crazy. As recently as the mid-1990s, it was totally normal in professional and journalistic life to blurt out the N-word when quoting someone else. I mean, yes, people knew that they shouldn't say it, but there was nothing wrong with recounting that someone else had said it.
The word I'm thinking of is the word nigga that you kept using among yourselves, among your other friend. Like when 5 children in an upper-class suburb in this country write the hated word nigger in code word.
You see, the history of the word nigger has burdened it with barbs so permanent that even hearing a non-black person use the word to quote someone else using the word is unacceptable today.
I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly.
I use I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. You know, this nigga, please. You know, can you lend a nigga a pencil?
That's just the way things were, until this guy gifted the world an alternative. This is Chris Darden. You may know him as the most unlucky lawyer of all time when he was tasked with prosecuting the O.J. Simpson case. When it was discovered that the lead detective in the case routinely used the word nigger to describe black people, and that there were recordings of him doing so.
And you say on your oath that you have not addressed any black person as a nigger?
That's what I'm saying, sir.
He's lying.
You're trying to find a bruise on a
Doubt was cast on whether or not his evidence could be trusted. This was such a big deal that the entire case became about these tapes. But OJ's only black prosecutor refused to say the word.
The N-word.
It is the filthiest, dirtiest, nastiest word in the English language.
Opting instead to use the term N-word. Before this point, no one had used that term in public life or on national TV, and it changed the game. Almost 30 years later, it is inconceivable that a non-black person would say that word. Chris Darden, in his deliberate refusal, made the most American word in the English language unutterable.
I never knew that.
Yeah. There's something new. All right, folks.
I did.
Here we come. What's up? Hi, folks. How's everyone doing?
What's up?
Hey. Hi. Gee, we got 37 comments already. We haven't even started. What could people be possibly saying? Wow, it's going to be a fun show tonight. Thanks. First of all, happy birthday to our queen.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tanya.
Birthday, Tanya.
Happy birthday, Tanya.
Thank you.
The queen of our show. We have 2 queens. We have Queen 1 and Queen 2. Doesn't matter. They could flip flop. I'm not saying anyone's, but thanks everyone for. Before I get started, do you guys notice? Have you guys seen the commercials where they seem to be trying to get black people to do online gambling?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
You seen that?
Yeah.
They're using these black celebrities to get us to DraftKings and all these other
DraftKings.
Because they don't have enough of us yet, so they want that part too.
Right?
Do you think it'll work?
I mean,
no, because we're not really. We like to just. We're very funny about that one. That one's a little weird.
Smooth is endorsing JB Smooth, has a lot of commercials.
Yeah, JB Smooth.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx has some nice.
Jamie Foxx. Martin Lawrence. I saw Martin Lawrence doing.
Vanessa Williams actually was on one of those too.
Wow. Anybody picking up on that?
I don't know.
I didn't notice that.
Call me. I'm doing one too. Goddamn it.
I know.
That right
now. Thanks to everyone. First of all, let me give a shout out to our main man, the information man. Thank you so much, brother, for everything that you've done for us and trying to help us do with the show. And please check out the information man. He's on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and look and search for the information man. Check out the show. It's on Sundays. I might be wrong, but I think the information man show is on 2:30 Pacific time and 5:30 Eastern time. But you can go there, you can check him out, and you can find out exactly when his show is on. And so let's get right to it. So some things happen that sometimes we come up with topics for a show, and then something will happen during the week that really gets us heated, and we have to pretty much sometimes abandon the original topic and just get into something that's really, really getting us upset. And these police shootings has been going on and on and on. And a lot of people saying it's not racially motivated. But I don't see any white people getting shot as much as black people are. Some people argue that more white people get shot by police every year, but that's obvious because there are more white people. So obviously, if out of 1 million white people, let's say 50,000 get shot, but out of 100,000 black people, 50,000 get shot. It's the same, but that's half of black people, but that's only like what, maybe 0.5 of white people. So
how do we know if that stat's really legit?
We don't.
They're usually not. They're usually fudged up or fudged down.
I can't even believe it's legit.
How come we don't see it on the news? How come so you're telling me the news media pick and choose which, you know what I mean, stories to, you think they're putting the black shootings up front and white people are being shot?
They do. Absolutely. And I know this because when I used to work in news, that they pick off the AP and whatever your station manager, whoever it is, that's the whole theme of the place.
And
so
you're talking about things that you notice. Notice this: if the victim is white, they'll show the perpetrator. If the victim is black, they still show the perpetrator. So that they're framing a framework that every time crime is committed is somebody black. Even if the victim is black and the perpetrator is white, they'll still show the black person in relation to the crime.
Look, we know that racism sells, like sex sells. My point is, I think now, so if cops busted into an apartment in Minneapolis and shot a white guy, would this not make the national news? Is what you guys are saying?
It would make the national news, but probably only if someone mentioned it.
Well, no, we got to give full context because in Waco, Texas,
right,
the government came in and burned and killed everybody down, and that set off a racist race war by other white people. Specifically, Timothy McVeigh decided to attack a government building and kill men, women, and children, kids in daycare, by blowing up Oklahoma.
Yes.
And so they react. The private citizen took that as very offensive and decided to strike back. Okay, he was crazy, but at the same time, we have outrage too, but we're channeling it a different way.
So do you guys agree with Godfrey? Because I kind of agree with Godfrey with this whole police shootings. They just don't like black people. Yeah, plain and simple, like Godfrey said.
Godfrey had a national radio show that had super high ratings on Urban View. And I used to listen to Godfrey every day. And his show got taken off the air.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not by mistake. His ratings were flying through the roof because he's bringing the heat, like we see him in his videos. Now he has his podcast. They can't take him off his podcast. But Godfrey's telling the truth, and for whatever it's worth, I'm sure he's hurting his career in a way. He's not. And
that's what I love. That's what I love about him.
Yeah, he's not as big as he should be.
He's a soldier. I mean, like,
yeah.
We need more people like him. You're not going to get more people like him. It's hard to.
Because you have to set yourself up for that. You can't just be like, I'm just going to be out there and be. You can't be. Everybody can't be a Malcolm X or Dr. King.
Everyone, not about.
Most people are vain.
Yeah.
Well, most people are vain and they want to keep their nice house and their nice cars, so they're not giving up that. So they'll do anything to keep that.
Well, he's at a level where he feels he's comfortable. I mean, Godfrey's far from broke. Some good, but I'm just saying he's at a point where he realizes he's not going to be a Kevin Hart in this industry, or Will Smith in this industry, but he knows that he still can make a good living.
He picked a lane.
Fans that love him, he still can go to the Stress Factory and sell out and make $5,000 or $10,000 on the weekend. A lot of money to Kevin Hart, but that's a lot of money to most people, right? So he's making a decent living.
Right.
and he's willing to, he understands that he's not going to be a Kevin Hart, but he's speaking his mind.
Right.
Never say what Godfrey's saying, because Kevin Hart has, no knock to him, just say he has too much right now. The sacrifice for him to come out and speak like a Godfrey, because Godfrey could say that, but if Kevin Hart said what Godfrey just said, woo!
Yeah.
Imagine the backlash and the press that he would get.
But that goes to what I've been saying on the show from time to time. Not everyone is going to be that front person. Not everyone is called. They don't have that. Godfrey clearly has a passion to speak his mind and speak his truth. Right. And he has determined that because of that, he's okay with whatever his financial situation is and how it is.
And related to that, we see Joe Rogan come out and speak in racist terms, and he gets $100 million contract. No risk whatsoever.
You can't make it seem like Joe Rogan was racist and then got a contract. He got a contract, and during the show,
no,
he
was racist a long time ago. He was doing those shows for over 10 years.
Right.
Then he got the contract. So he was racist and got a contract.
Yeah, he's been talking as gibberish for a long time.
Oh yeah, and that's where the comment came from me. I told you a guy in Pleasantville came from me and said almost the same thing. He said, "I saw Planet of the Apes. I'm going to rename it Planet of the Black People." That's very similar to what Joe Rogan said. And the guy told me later, the guy who books all the comics or whatever, he said, "Oh yeah, he was just trying to be like so and so." And looking back, I was like, maybe Joe Rogan said it then. Maybe that's where he was copying, because this is all a thing. If you go to
so let me ask the panel a question, and this goes out to all the people who are watching also. As soon as a white person uses the word nigger, they are racist, and there's no coming back. There's no return from that word. There's no forgiveness. There's nothing that they can say to ever return. It's the point. From the time you say nigger and you're white, you're done.
Well,
Carl, you told me I had to get over that word and let it go years ago. So, and I haven't. I don't believe that. When someone uses that word, it tells me who they really are.
Really? Well, okay, but that didn't answer my question. And I did not say you're not saying what I didn't say you have to get over that word and let it go. That's not what I said. But I'm asking a question. Once white people say that word, that means they're racist, and that's it. They're done. I'm asking a question.
It shouldn't be used by white people, period. Okay. Under no circumstances.
Right.
And I'm sick of white people saying, oh, well, rappers use it. As Dick Gregory said, and I love this quote from Dick Gregory, the great Dick Gregory. He said that nigger have been around since 1619, but white people want to act like it started in 1979 with rap music.
He's so clever.
Right. So that was my question. Once white people say that word, I mean, that's it.
Yeah,
right?
because it's a different connotation, first of all. So you can't put your apples and oranges. That's number one. I mean, we all know. I'm not saying I condone the young people saying it, but I am saying, and I had a discussion with one of my friends last night who happens to be an educator, and we both came to the agreement that while I always correct the kids and they get sick of me. Oh, Miss Tanya, really? Come on. Are you going to really try to give me school me right now? And yes, I am going to try to school you. I'm going to try. I don't know if it'll work. But they're like, it just means my boy. They took the meaning of the word and bypassed it for what they wanted it to mean. Because when I was growing up, if you called me that word before I was a Quaker, you'd be you'd be kissing the floor pretty much. And that's stupid to hit somebody over a word, but that's how angry it made me. So this generation said, well, you know what? Okay, there's nothing I can do about this. Say, go ahead. Oh, so now they're like, yo, that's my nigga. What's up? That's my boy has been replaced for the N word of no good, low down, and dirty. Big difference.
Are we really taking the power from the word, like people say, like we're taking the power from the word? And if we are, you can jump in after.
Let me say something.
How come Jews don't try to take the power from Kike, or Chinese don't try to take the power from Chink? I
don't care what they do. I only care about what we do. That's all.
No, but I'm saying like so black people using the word nigga and saying we're taking it back How come Jews don't want to take back?
Because you can't say that to a Jew because you'll be shut down. You can't say that to an Italian because you'll be shut down. Only black people allow people of everywhere and everybody except for their own.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because
we already know the answer to that, because we
have issues.
African Americans are the only group of people in this country that don't have that foundation of their own religion, of their own, because we were brought here, Africans were brought here from another country and continent, and then enslaved, and then raped, and that became African Americans after a while. So we don't have our own religion or our own, like, you say Hispanics stick together. Of course they do. Or Jewish people don't allow that word. You got to think about, speaking of rap music, this is documented. A lot of the record companies were owned by high-powered Jewish men, like the guy used to be married to
Ed Epstein. You have Cohen. There's a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people.
Spectre.
I mean, there's a lot. It's gone forever. Yeah, that's the whole business.
Music. We used to be married to Mariah Carey. What's his name?
He's Italian. That's why you can't say Jewish.
Tommy too.
He slipped through the cracks. He slipped through.
Tommy
Mottola.
Mottola.
Tommy Mottola. I don't know if he's Jewish or not. So forgive me if he's not.
He's not.
He had people use the N-word in their music, and he for example, Michael Jackson used the word kite in one of his songs, and they made him take it out. At the time, they told Michael Jackson he couldn't use that word. He was the biggest star in the world.
That's a good video.
Biggest star in the world had to go take that one word out of his record. They had to get rid of all those CDs that they had pressed, the millions of them, and press and redo the song and take that one word out because he said "kite me" in one of his songs.
Yeah, which I don't.
I remember that.
It seemed like everybody had zero tolerance for any racial slur for their group, but black people, we seem to.
We let everybody.
We even like even Latinos. You hear Latinos go, "What up, nigga? What's up, my nigga? What up, nigga?"
You better not tell me that. You
No.
right on the floor. Nope.
The glorified, that comes with the glorified of our music. I mean, we gotta blame the rappers in a way because they do use it.
No, I don't blame the rappers at all. No,
I blame them because, well, if Spanish people or Hispanics listen to Biggie or Tupac, and that's what they're saying, and who doesn't listen to rap? White kids buy rap music. Hispanic kids buy rap music.
But you know what?
I'm not blaming
nobody's
music for
talking
anything
about
going on, or we'd be dead.
You know what nobody's talking about? The fact that when rap first started, none of those words
were in there.
Oh no,
in there.
Yeah,
bitches and hoes wasn't in there.
Nope, because they were.
As it grew, the powers that be, the producers, the executives said, "Hey, let's go in," because the underground stuff may have had it, but they were not allowing it. I don't know if you remember when oh Lord, what's her name? Tipper Gore went through that whole thing of having things labeled.
Yep.
She was outraged because of the stuff that was being said.
She did it with
they
Prince.
realized.
Here's the problem, really. We're turning it back on us. We didn't take the word and make it dirty. The word negus is the original word, and that means king or God. And that's what we called ourselves. And they couldn't say the word, and they started using the N-word. And they dirtied it, just like they dirtied a lot of things. They take it, they make it their own, and they make it dirty. So for us, it's sullied now. We shouldn't be using it. And I don't know how we even got on this subject, but
that wasn't what we were supposed to be talking about, right?
I mean, it's okay. The subject gets hot. People are loving it. People are commenting.
Let me say quickly, Carl. Going back to the rap, man. The reason it got popular was, and Pam, you're right, when the Sugar Hill Gang and Curtis Blow and all those guys came out in the 80s, they weren't saying the N-word. The New York rappers weren't using it. What happened was
they were more clever.
No.
My bad.
No. You say that. What happened was, Anya, was
I know what happened. I was around the original rap.
NWA came out in LA, and niggas with attitudes. Now, the reason they were rapping about growing up in South Central LA, they were rapping about the police calling them niggas with attitudes. So what they were saying was police called them niggas with attitudes. They all their records were about how the LAPD was dirty.
They are
treated black people. But they put that on vinyl. And they started selling albums out the back of their cars and sold millions, and then they became NWA,
the underground, right?
The legendary rap group that they became. But they weren't calling themselves niggers as per se. They were saying that's what the cops call us. So we are niggas with attitudes. So that was their rebuttal back at the cops, the dirty cops in LA. So that's how it caught on. But gangster rap became so popular after that because it was selling millions of records. That's when the producers, which were white men, Jewish men, or whatever, said, "Hey, this rap music, this gangster rap is selling like crazy, millions." And that's when they.
And we're gonna take our share.
And that's when
they took a big share, all right.
New York, and that's when Biggie was produced. Biggie was the hardest rapper, East Coast rapper there was, and then Tupac, you know, who says N word in every other record that he had, right? But I mean, even the ones that were positive, where he was kicking some knowledge because his brother was. But you know, even Tupac was. You know,
let me throw this out there. Is it the word that's dirty, or is it the fact that black people are still oppressed that makes us so angry when we hear the word? You know what I mean? Like, because is there a word that you can say to a Bill Gates, or you know, somebody that has money and somebody that, you know what I mean? Is there a word that we can call that a person that has that much success and them get angry and upset and pissed off? I think it's the fact that you can't call us words and still give us shitty jobs or not let us give us
and
you know what I mean? We're still oppressed,
and that's why the oppressor.
That's why the word is so potent to us, because we're still dealing with shit. Because I can't think of a word.
Not for me.
I can't think of a word. I can't think of a word that you can call, like I said, like a Bill Gates or somebody who's any white person that's doing well that you can go up to him and call him a honky or a redneck, and they feel hurt because in America, I mean, they're white, so they still have privilege, so they're not really bothered by it. You guys, am I making any sense?
The only person right now that is universally hated is when you call someone a son of a bitch, and that seems pretty tame nowadays. But what are you really calling a person? You're calling the person mother a bitch, and you're calling yourself the son of that person, the son of a bitch.
So what I'm really asking is it the word that's great, or is it the fact that we're still dealing with so much shit that really bugs the shit out of us?
I think it's symbolic. I think
if black people are all doing really well and we all had jobs paying $2-3 million a year, and every black person was doing.
You couldn't call me a nigga.
And you know what I mean? I don't think so. I don't
and I'll tell you why. The reason why is the word. It's not all that for me. It's the fact that whoever first originally thought they were going to intend to make it to hurt us, that was the intention. So because of that's the intention, then when you tell me who you are, I believe you. And if you're calling me that word, you're going to get that response from me. With the meaning that you don't like is what you're going to get.
Fannie Lou Hamer said she was walking down the street. Everybody know. She said she's walking down the street. She walked past 3 white guys. Hey nigger, hey nigger. And she kept walking, and the lady she was walking with said, "Hey, how come you didn't turn around and respond to them?" And she says, "Because I ain't no nigger."
Right.
Exactly.
So it's so if you let the
offense is taken, not given. That's what they say.
If you let the word have power over you,
then it has power, right?
Over you.
Right. Right. And that's
I consider the story.
I mean, who says it is how I respond.
But you got to understand the intention of the person using the word too.
Right. That's really what it is.
And where we go is we think it's the worst intention. It could be your best friend and they happen to be white. If they say that word, it puts you in a state of a negative intention.
Oh, no. You can't be my wife and say the word nigger at all for no reason at all. There is no
I'm
reason.
talking metaphorically. I'm not talking actually.
I know, but I'm saying some people say, oh, well, that's my nope, because I got to give a couple of my friends credit. They rap and do the whole thing and said, I'm white, even in a cipher of their most closest friends, and that's all they grew up with. They still said, I would never say that word. It will never come out of my mouth. I don't care if they tell me all day. They could call me. They say that all day to me. Oh, that's my nigga. Da, da, da. But I'm not ever calling that because why? It's just not appropriate. And that you have to know, stay in your lane. That's what I say. So
in college, I brought my best friend and my roommate, Sal, Italian kid, home to my hometown. In my hometown, all my good friends were black. So we go in one of my friend's basements. He's a DJ producer. He did Biggie tracks and everything. And we're playing a card game. And we're trying to figure out who goes first. So one of my friends says, okay, whoever wants to go first, say the N-word. So everybody starts saying it. And then we all look at Sal. And Sal goes, I wasn't going to say it. And we all bust out laughing.
Sounds smart. It's all.
I mean, and we're going to get off this in a few, but so when white people buy rap music and the rap music have nigger in it, they should just skip over that.
I don't see what this is what bothers me about this. It only became a problem because a white lady, Karen, made it a problem. Before the Karen, Tipper Gore, it was not a problem. I mean, it's a problem to us, maybe amongst each other. Fine. Okay, fine. Still, my mother would die if I said that word. My mother would be like, what did you say? Did you say the? Oh, no, you didn't. So I would get my butt beat if I said that word. So I get it. I totally get it. I respect those who don't like it at all. I get it. But the other part of me says, these kids are kind of brilliant because they just took that word and wiped it up and said, oh, you're not going to use it. I don't want no part of that hurting my feelings because for me, it would hurt my feelings when I was 9 years old to hear that word. I'd be devastated. I was like, what? You call? And especially if you were around your friends thinking you're cute. Like one time I was walking through the corridor on the D wing of Fox Lane, and this kid all the white guys were lined up against the wall. And I normally wouldn't care. I could care less. But this particular day, I knew this one kid was kind of racist, but I never told him because, you just go around telling people they're racist. And I'm walking through the corridor and I hear, you know how you dread it, it's going to happen. And I'm walking, there's 3 on this side, and it's packed. Everybody's coming out of class. And I'm walking and I hear nigger. Oh, why did I hear that word? And he was so stupid that he did exactly what I told him. I said, I said, are you talking to me? And he said, yeah, you heard me, nigger. I said, oh, come here for a second. And he's so stupid. I'm 5'9". He's 5'8". He did it. He came over to me and I knocked him out, which was bad. But that's how I used to feel about the word because I was young. I didn't know.
But let's go. I want to go deep.
We got a comment here first. First, we got a comment online from TW who said we should know in advance. We should know in advance how we will respond if we are ever called the N-word. Could be a setup. Be careful.
Yes.
Know in advance the most constructive response.
Why is it so hurt? Why is that word so hurtful? Why? What's the trigger? Why does it trigger us?
Because at 9 and 12 and 15 is different than when you're 50 something years old.
I'm asking the word itself, like how black people respond. You say that word,
depending on your age. Depending on your age. There's some age. If you're a teenager, who cares?
No, but I mean, as a whole, as black as a whole, what is it about the word?
So Carl, the point from what I understand in slavery, this is where it came up. The venom about it came up from Jim Crow. Whenever they were saying it, it was always said with such a negative, dirty connotation and with so much hate. And there's so much pain. When you look at people who were hanging from trees, they were being called that word. All of the negative, horrible, painful things of the past were associated with white people calling us that word. So that's where the pain comes from. You're gonna have that pain because it as they say nowadays, it triggers.
Right, trigger. That's
okay. So now you move it forward to like the 60s and stuff where people were starting to reclaim. And so, yeah, between us, when we said my nigga, it was, okay, my boy, my chum, and that has carried through. It was a term of endearment to a certain degree for younger people. I think as you get older, you kind of get away from that. It's kind of like, you know, when you first are a young person and you thought every word had to be a cuss word because you were grown and you were cool and you could show it. But as you get older, you realize you don't have to use all the curse words. You can, you know, you can limit yourself and find other words to express yourself. So that's with young kids, young Black people, calling them, you know, saying, yo, you know, that's my nigga over there. That's my, you know, whatever. It does. They're not thinking of it with all the pain and stuff. They're thinking of it as an embrace.
You make a good point, Pam. And I think we need to try to find a way to rid this word, because what you just said made me think about our ancestors who had to listen to the word as they were being hanged, as they were being whipped, as they were being beat, as they were being put in the cotton fields. So many Black people suffered from that word that we all should be ashamed of using it and allowing it to be used today. Millions of people without skin color, that was the last word they had, or they were castrated, hung, beat, whipped,
mutilated, raped, everything nasty.
Yeah. So we should be ashamed of using that word, and we should not allow that word to be used. Now that I think about what you said, Pam, you know, it shouldn't be used, not even by rappers. I know why NWA used it, because they were explaining what the cops called them, and then it was
more of a political thing.
It was a political thing, I guess, or their way of saying, hey, you gonna call us a nigga, niggas with attitude. I get all of that, but yeah, I think, you know, the word should definitely be erased from the human vocabulary at this point, because too many people died listening to a white man say that word to them as he was killing them. Yeah.
Pam, the answer you gave is exactly the answer I was looking for. That's the answer I had in my head. But and the reason I wanted it explained, that's why when I say I want to go deeper, I wanted to explain the way you did. So when white people say it and they can't understand, oh, why you guys get so upset, it's just a word. It's all the stuff that comes with it, all the lynchings, all the beatings, all the dogs being sicked on Black people, all the hoses, all the don't eat at this counter, don't drink at this water fountain, all of that stuff.
All the jobs that we got rejected from, the housing, everything. Yes. It is our history.
Yeah, so the way you explain it is exactly, if anyone watches how the way you just explained, any white person watches the way you explain it, they should never ask again, why do we get so upset? And it's because exactly that, because it comes with all of that, you know what I mean, all that horrible shit, all that lynching and all that stuff, you know what I mean? When the Black man was hanging from a tree, or a white Black woman was hanging from a tree, you think they say we just hung a Black person today?
Yeah.
No, what did it say? We just hung another.
I'm not sure if this is true, but I had heard that the whole thing of having a picnic was pick a nigga.
I seen
the hang 'em.
Why you eating? Say yes, I see stuff that said that no, but I heard
I've
seen where it
and
says,
I think that's why we don't say picnic anywhere. We say cookout.
And I had a white person in their 90s tell me that as a kid, the reason why they became a painter was because their whole town had to go and sit like it was a goddamn festival and watch a Black man being hung. And he was so shook. He was like 7 years old. He told me, he said he never, ever forgot it, because it was just, that's probably why he don't live in it was in Kansas City somewhere. He was like, I just could not believe that they invited us all. Like, we were like, oh, what are we going to do? Get a new mayor? Or
it was an outing. It was a family outing.
A family affair for everyone to watch this Negro get hung. And he said he couldn't believe it. He was just devastated and never looked back since. So it does happen. It has happened. And you ask anybody who's old to tell you, especially old Southern women, they'll tell you, no, that's real. Because they're going to always put it in the media and change it up for you so that it's harder for you to find the real facts. You need to do like we used to do. We used to be a Gregorian, what do you call it, society, where we did orality. We told all our history through oral. We never put it in paper, because if we put it in paper, what are they going to do? They're going to change it like they did. So you have to go ask your grandmother and your great grandmother, and she has to tell the next one the legacy. That's how you get the real history. You don't know what's going on if you look at the books, because it ain't going to tell you. That's all I can say. Old women's who I go by. Old men.
Anthony Robertson said, call a poor white boy a honky and he wouldn't like it. So
at this point, they don't even know what honky is anymore because
I think of a car honky.
But that goes back to what I'm saying. If you are doing well in life,
it hasn't stuck.
It's kind of hard to be offended when you're doing well. Even though I've seen black celebrities, you know what I mean?
Now I would call you Hitler, then you get mad.
But colonizer seems to bother white people. I've seen that a lot online recently. The
racist bothers white people.
Which
if
one?
you call a white person a racist, they act so offended, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And they don't care because they know they really are. So
right.
If you're not, then you don't care.
Yeah, that's the new thing, man. You call a white person a racist.
They're like, I'm not a racist. I like your sweater.
What's up? Let's shout out to Jess Miller. Jess Miller is Jess. I love you so much. Jess is the first white person that ever asked me, Carl, what's it like just being black in America?
Really?
Seriously, she said.
And what did you respond? How did you respond?
I mean, like, I pretty much told her what it's like. You know what I mean? And Jess is gay, and maybe we had some similar. You know what I mean? Her.
So what did you tell her though? What did you tell her?
I say it's a full-time job. You know what I mean? It's when you leave your house, you get ready to go out and be black. You know, you walk into stores, you know you're being watched. You know what I mean? You know people are gonna cross the street when they see you. You get ready for stuff.
But how often do we really think about that as black men and as black women, and depending on where we live, or is it everyone all the time?
I think we constantly live in a state of constant tension. And I think that's why we have so much health issues. Every moment, even though we are not faced with racist or oppressive situations every moment, I think it's ingrained in us as we become young, especially as we become young adults,
as we get older,
to always be on guard. You always have to be ready, and because of that. Like, sometimes I actually, like, I do this to myself because I realize that I constantly keep tension in my shoulders and my neck.
Go ahead, Desi. Sorry, go ahead, Desi.
Sorry. If you wanted to give someone who's not black a little taste of what it's like to be black, think back to 9/11 when we got terrorist attack, and they didn't care about race. They didn't care about anything. They just wanted to attack Americans. And everywhere you went, you had to consider where you're going, how you're going to get there, what are you going to do if something bad happens, and how you're going to navigate the situation. That's what we go through all the time, everywhere we are.
And can I tell you something? And I know that this was very unpopular, the few people that I said it to. 9/11, those people dying, horrible. I was down in that. Horrible. Don't ever wish it on anyone. However, America that day and the weeks preceding finally got a taste of what it's like to be in Israel, even Israel, Palestine, all of those countries that constantly live in a fear of, you don't know if you're going to a pizza shop, you're going to get blown up. We got one little taste of what those people lived with every single day. That tension, that fear, that of the unknown. And I didn't wish it on it, but I'm glad that we had that. I hoped that because of what we finally felt, because we had never been attacked on our own homeland except in Pearl Harbor, I hoped that would give people in general a more sympathetic and compassionate
it didn't.
glimpse into what these other people are facing on a day-to-day basis.
It didn't last long, but boy, to be an American after that, you would look at someone who was white and you'd kind of nod, and you knew that there was a mutual respect there.
Yeah, but they took the focus off of us, and they put it on people who had their heads tied in turbans.
Exactly. That's so they just channeled it somewhere else.
They channeled it someplace else, and then of course it came back to us.
Which is crazy, because you would think this is the lesson here is we all need each other in a catastrophe. Period. period. Because I'm sure there was a Muslim helping a Baptist or a Jew or somewhere during that
They
whole
were.
I
In
know
New York, the Muslim community came together and they really rallied and tried to support as much as they could.
Yeah. So the stereotypes are horrible because we can prove, especially on that day. I know people down there with every nationality helping everybody. They didn't care what you were or where you from. You're a human. You need help. I got you. It's just crazy. We
and I worked on the 43rd floor on building 1.
What?
You were you there that morning?
No, I wasn't there
that day. Thank God I didn't go.
You know, Pam, when you're in Barbados, do you see yourself as black?
Yeah.
No. I mean, are you reminded that you're black? Is what I should say.
On a
daily basis, you remind. I mean, do you walk down the street and you walk down the street and people make you feel black? Like,
no, but I'll tell you.
You know what I'm saying? Like in America, you walk.
Whatever I have to deal with customer service, I do because they get on my day.
But you know what I'm saying? Like
yes,
you know what I mean.
But that's a different. I think when you are born in a country that you've always known people like you in all aspects and in all levels of the economic spectrum, it gives us a different point of view
in America because Keith Weston said being black in America is an endless nightmare. It's an endless nightmare. You know what?
You don't have proper representation.
You know what the rednecks will say to you, Keith? Keith, you know what the rednecks will say to you? Go
home.
Why don't you go back to your country?
And this is our country. We're the ones who built it. This is our country.
I tell you what, when people say that, you know what I want to say? When you send us back and you stop taking all of our mineral resources and everything from our homeland, our continent of Africa, and let us keep all of our wealth and the minerals, the diamond, the jewels, the oil, the everything, then we'll go back and we'll leave y'all over here in America and see how long.
Tanya, we're gonna go to you, and then we're gonna jump into Desi. Hold on a second, Tanya. And then we're gonna go to Desi's. Desi has some Black history questions that we're gonna jump into. I have one question before we get to Desi's questions. Go ahead, Tanya.
No, I was just going to say, I didn't know this. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln he was going to give us some land to send us back, and he just never did? Did you know that?
Africa.
It's in one of the constitutions, something that he wrote. It's in there that he was going to do that, but it never happened.
Send us back. He's going to send us back.
Yeah, in some new land.
He wasn't giving us land. He was sending our asses back out of America because he said in his speech that
he want us there. Here.
We're not equal to the black man. I mean, to the white man.
Yes, he said that. Yeah.
We're not on their level, and we shouldn't live together.
Yes, I meant to pull that up, but I didn't have
it.
He
actually was out of the country. If he wasn't assassinated, his plans were to have us all shipped out of here because slavery was over. There's no more need for us.
Right. But here's the thing. What about the ones of us that was here first as Moors?
Lincoln wasn't a
Native Americans. Oh, I'm just saying.
One day we got to do a show on that. Lincoln was not a fan of the black man.
And how about
Lincoln wasn't a fan of ending slavery either. That he promised that one. He was running for president. He only did it because politically the South was winning so much that he had to do something.
Well, nobody boost that.
We need to talk about Liberia as well.
George Booth, where you at, boy?
All right, so this question is for the panel and to the people, anyone watching. This is a test to see where your loyalty lies. I think I asked
where your loyalty lies.
Yeah, let's see where your loyalty lies. I'll answer the question myself. But those of you watching, put your answer in the chat. If a white American and a black African are boxing, who are you rooting for?
If a what?
If a white American and a black African are in a boxing match, who are you rooting for? White American, black African. Who you rooting?
Depends. Probably for the African because I think of Muhammad Ali, but
no,
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm going for the black guy.
Okay.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not. I'm keeping it 150%. If there was some outstanding character to him, I might vote for him.
Well, that's not
that I would. probably.
Desi, who you rooting for? I'm rooting for the Black African.
And we already know who you voting for. We already know that. It's
Who you
called.
rooting for, Des?
I don't know. I think I'm. It's a hard question to answer because I'm a sports fan. I'm a sports fan, so I'm rooting for the best boxer.
But you don't. You no. You don't know anything. No. You got to qualify it, Carl. You don't know anything about either of the boxers.
Well, then you didn't say that.
But I'm saying but you have to, because now he's starting to talk about, well, you got to look at the skill of the boxer, blah blah blah. You don't know nothing about either one.
I don't know anything.
They make
Probably. I'll be going by who looks the friendliest.
I say 90% of the time I would root for the black boxer.
Right. If
There could be something about the white boxer that I like because I'm not that deep when it comes to sports.
You got Tanya and Desi tap dancing, so go. I'm
not I hate to tell you this, but Tanya does not mince her words, and Tanya does not give a damn what anybody thinks about Tanya thinks. If I have a hesitation, I will let you know. And when I tell you what I say, it's exactly what I said. There's no edit to it needed. Thank you very much.
Who are you rooting for, Kevin?
Wait, Kevin. Who are you rooting for?
Who are you rooting for? The black.
I'm rooting for the black man.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to be mad when a white guy says the same thing?
When Jerry Cooney, the great hope, was fighting Larry Holmes for the championship, there's not one African American in this country that was rooting for Jerry Cooney to beat Larry Holmes, and there wasn't one white man in this country that was rooting for Larry Holmes beat Jerry Cooney. And you want to go back to Joe Louis fighting the white guy, I can't think of his name right now. It's the same thing. White America wanted him to kick Joe Louis's ass, and black people were rooting for Joe Louis.
What about Muhammad Ali?
And I'm from Long Island, where Jerry Cooney was from. Some of my friends went to that fight at the drive-in theater, is how they broadcast it. And my black friends basically had to run for their lives after Larry Holmes beat Jerry Cooney.
I know that's right.
That's not funny.
No, Jerry actually is a very nice guy and a great guy, by the way. I met him on I met him on the show.
Who's that?
Jerry
Cooney.
Yeah, nicest guy, down to earth, cool guy, man, and just a real good guy. But he got his ass whooped.
Now there's a white boxer named Conor McGregor. If he was American, I don't care who he's fighting for, I would root against him.
Me too. I like him. He's a racist. I don't like him. He's a racist.
Go ahead. What's that, Pam?
I'll wrap it up for you. If all things being equal, there's a black man and there's a white man in any kind of competition.
Yes.
Unless I know that black man to be a racist and an evil person, I'm rooting for the black guy. And I think instinctively the reason why is because we got to get any breaks that we can get. They've stomped us down too damn long. So I want us always to win.
I know, no matter.
Suppose it's Colin. What's his name? Suppose it's the Justice guy. What's his name?
Who?
The black guy. The black guy. Because there's only one. Stop acting like there's a lot of them. The Justice, the guy that they voted in office for.
Unless it's Herschel Walker.
You're talking about
if Herschel Walker
or Tim Scott.
No,
if Herschel Walker or Tim Scott was.
I know what you're talking about. Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas.
Somebody just said Clarence Thomas.
What did I say?
Right, exactly. Then
what did I say?
That's what I was thinking of when I said my answer.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, but that's why I said, right?
But wait. Here's a question to go on top of that question. How would you feel if this was an all-white panel and asked the same thing?
And if they said what they said?
If we were all white and we said, would you mind? Who would you go for? And we all said, we're going for the white guy because we're going to stick with our own kind. How would you feel?
But I didn't say that.
Expect them to go for the white.
We didn't say that, but I'm just saying that's also because
they do.
They do. Absolutely. Now, I don't know if they'll keep it real like we just did, but that's another story. I was just wondering because I don't get mad anymore. If I heard this exact panel in reverse, I don't get back. Like that, do you? No problem.
But here's like for me, when
the hard thing about the commentators, when you watch any sport, most of the commentators are white.
They are.
And depending on the sport, you can clearly hear their bias when they're talking about the sport.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, they usually talk about the white guy's intelligence and, you know, and then the black guy, oh, look at his athletic build and all that bullshit.
Right.
Yes.
But
well, of course he did. He picked all that cotton. I'm just saying.
I mean, me personally, I don't see anything wrong with white people having pride in being white. You know what I
I
mean?
don't either anymore.
I have zero problem with that.
I have no problem either. As long as you're not stopping me, I don't care what you do.
Yeah, we even got some shit from a white guy who said if they had a show called The 5 White Comics that they would be called racist. But
if that panel spent an hour every Wednesday night talking about how bad black people were, and it's not true. Yeah, but we tell the truth here.
Right. That's the difference. That's the difference. If you have
we don't oppress people. We don't oppress people.
Right.
We're not racist.
Right.
We're not against white people. We're against racist white people.
Right.
You know, I had this argument. Some guy pulls up. Oh well. What he say? Well, you like Farrakhan and he's racist.
I like Farrakhan.
You cannot. Farrakhan, if you don't like him, if you don't like Al Sharpton, if you don't like Farrakhan, if you don't like Jesse Jackson and all these other people, you created these people. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your American racism.
Right. That's true.
Good point, Kevin.
That's a fact.
You created these people. You know, the only person you respect, civil rights leader or person that fight against racism that you respect is Dr. King, because he's passed away.
Right.
You know,
and they only know as much as what they have been taught about Dr. King, which is all the fluffy stuff.
I just had this argument with somebody on Facebook the other day when, I don't know if you guys heard the story of Colin Kaepernick got booed going to a sporting event. I think Madison Square Garden. He went to Madison Square Garden. And he got booed by some white people, and TMZ reported it. And so thousands of comments on Facebook, and I made a comment, and people were like, "You're comparing Colin Kaepernick to Dr. King?" I go, "No. What I said was, if Dr. King, in 1967, 1968, was the most hated man in America.
Right.
So attended a Knicks game in 1968, he would have got the same treatment that Colin Kaepernick got the other night. That's what I said. And white people coming on, how dare you compare him to King and all that stuff. I think you guys don't know anything about King other than the "I have a dream, make you feel good about yourself" speech. You know.
But you know that's why I to some degree pity a lot of white people, because they have been fed the same stuff that we were fed in school, and they took it and ran with it because it felt comfortable. They have not gone further to dig further into these issues, so they're in a place of ignorance.
And that's why real history, which is framed as critical race, is so scary to them, because it's gonna break all their.
And that's why I don't like the word critical race theory.
Well,
I think
Malcolm
it's a bunch of crap. Huh?
Malcolm X doesn't have a national holiday, and him and Dr. King,
he ain't never gonna have a national holiday.
Same thing though.
Never say never.
They just made his home a national
historic.
Yeah. So let's switch it up a bit and get back to because we're going to talk about Amir Locke. You know, the guy. If that was a white dude, if that was a white arm coming out from on a blanket with a gun, do you think he would have still got shot?
He definitely wouldn't have, and we can prove that. We can show you what was the case you mentioned about the guy shot at the police 200 times and they didn't even shoot at him once. Yeah. It's like, how did they take Charles Manson in? He's carving babies out of stomachs. I'm sorry. How did they take Jeffrey Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy in? I'm just confused. I'm confused. Like, when you go to his house, you mean to tell me you didn't go to his house locked, loaded, and ready? Because this guy eats people. Like,
because I mean, our black skin is a trigger for police, and that's I'm not even making it up. I'm trying to be funny. Black skin is a trigger for police. They even when police go to training, you know how they have the cutouts of a cutout, and they pop them out from behind a door or something, and they used to have them as just a black symbol. They had to change the color.
Yeah,
because they thought I don't know how police can't tell the difference between a cardboard cutout and a real person. Why did they have to
Well,
change?
they can, but but it's psychological. It's subliminal. It's subliminal messaging. But here's the thing with this young man.
The police are just more aggressive with black people, and it goes back to what Godfrey said. They just don't like us. I mean,
but also you have to remember why
really do about that. I mean, what can we do about that? Really,
nothing, because police were made to govern all the slaves that were let go. That's why they came up with police. They never had police before that. It was like Wild West. You have your own gun. You protect your own house. When they let the slaves go, they had to find a way to make money off us because they couldn't make it anymore. So what they gonna do? So they had to criminalize us. So if you criminalize, we need help getting these criminals to the jail. That's where police come from. They wouldn't have been around if it wasn't for slavery.
So what is so disturbing to me about this case, the most thing that's most disturbing to me is the fact that this was a no-knock warrant being served on something as far, I think they said it was they were supposed to be retrieving property. They weren't even supposed to be retrieving a person. So, and I did not understand also how the police had a key.
What?
They had a key. Yeah, because the video shows them taking a key and unlocking the door.
No way.
So yeah. I just saw it today. I think it was on Roland Martin. They had the 15-second video. It was it was horrible. But I don't understand why they had SWAT in full tactical gear going in there to retrieve property. That doesn't seem, and it wasn't even a warrant for their district. It was for the district of St. Paul or something like that. And they were going to that particular place, and he was visiting there. He didn't even live. It wasn't his family or anything. He was visiting, and that's why he was sleeping on the sofa.
You're thinking and you're using logic. These are people who just want to come in and kill people.
Yeah. Jess Miller just
Super happy.
She said Jess said, "What about Kyle Rittenhouse?" That right? He the guy was walking the street with an AR-15 or whatever, and and waving at the police saying thank you, nice job.
Yep.
And people are saying this guy just killed somebody.
Yeah.
They don't care. It's not the same thing.
He was a legal gun owner.
Yes.
Yes. He had a permit because he was doing.
No, he wasn't a legal gun owner.
No, he was.
That's what they
It was
said.
a straw man purchase.
Not called Rittenhouse. The kid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, Amir Locke.
Yeah, Amir Locke.
He had a license.
Yeah. And his parents had trained him how to do the right thing when you see the cops, how to work a gun.
And evidently they said when you see I guess they must have done a still or something of seeing his hand on the gun. He did not have his fingers on the trigger. It was on the barrel. He didn't have, so he was, and it was pointing down. So because they were waking him up, so he kind of was disoriented. He grabbed the gun, but he still had the presence of mind to do what you're supposed to do, which is no finger on the trigger, put your hand until you know don't point unless you're planning on shooting. So he had it down.
Pam, you're using logic and reason.
I'm just saying.
So Kanashi Miller said the super let them in. I didn't hear.
No, well, the super might have given them a key,
Somebody
but
had
the
to give
super
him a
did
key.
not
Ain't no
unlock
way
that
they could
door.
just stop him with a key.
It
No
was
way.
the policeman who had the SWAT people who did it. The super might have given them a key.
You had to give him a key. Somebody had to give him a key because
for me, bottom line is, and this is just my theory, and I'm, you guys can have your own theory. Black people scare police. We make them nervous. Scare white people in general. Most white people
scared of what?
Scared, right? But they see us, they get scared. They get. What do you mean? Why are you shaking your head, Tanya? I mean, they get scared. They get.
I don't understand why
they've got decades upon decades of propaganda against us.
We make them. You know what I mean? I've been in cars with white comics. We're going to do a show. The cop pulled us over, and the cops talking all nicey nice and and as soon as they see me, then the whole attitude change. I mean, we've all seen that.
Thank you.
These killings are not. How are we going to stop it when? How do you make people like people? Right? How do you do that? You know what I mean? So,
but the bigger issue is, why are you doing no-knock warrants? I thought, and especially
that's not even the bigger issue. The issue is there's a certain percentage of white people who just, as you saw Godfrey said in his video, they just don't like us. I mean, they talk about police need better training, and we need You know, we need this kind of training and that kind of training. They just don't like black people. What's the fix for that?
The fix for that is to stop putting officers from other areas into areas they ain't never seen people like them in, period. That's really the problem. Because when they come, they don't see you. If you're coming from Long Island, right, and you're in the South Bronx, you don't see that person as a human being, period.
Right.
They are just a thing going, and you're protecting all the other ones you're protecting, allegedly.
Somebody said they should give them a lie detector test. Give cops a lie detector test.
It wouldn't help. It wouldn't help because they know they're
A
trained.
bunch of sociopaths are up in there.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't help.
Not to mention a lot of them specifically came.
Most cops in areas where this stuff is happening, they don't live in those neighborhoods, so they don't see you as a human being. And if I don't see you as a human being, how am I going to respond? Like you're an animal, period. And I can tell you this because if you go take the same type, I've seen people on crystal meth get better treatment from cops if they're depending on the area. Now, not all areas do this, not all cops do this. You know what I'm talking about. You know what areas I'm talking about specifically. But they will treat I've seen people, I saw them with the camera of a Vice TV with a bunch of crystal meth heads who were like, effing this. And they were being rude. Okay, and they were like, oh, come on, Tommy, you can't be doing that. I got to take you in now. And if you keep doing that. And I'm like, why are we having a conversation of maybe I'll take you in? Aren't you worried about them having a gun? Because they look like they would be doing some damage. Nope, because they see them as a human being first. Then they see them as an addict having a problem. But a black person on crack or drugs or something like that, oh my God, it's like, oh my God, anything could happen. I got to be ready. I'm on high alert. It's a whole different thing because we're not seen as human beings, period.
So isn't the fix for that for more black people to join the police departments? And I've said that before, but then I've seen black people saying we're not going to join a racist police department.
Yep, because you'll be just like them.
So we're just gonna continue being shot, and you know what I mean?
No, because what's gonna happen is people are gonna get tired and
the
get
whole
out.
concept of policing has to be reworked. It has to be a new concept. It has to be something new. What we're doing isn't working.
Yeah, because it's not gonna be a fun job after a while for a lot of people. Because there's only so much but people can take, especially young people.
But here's another spin on this, right?
They just don't like us. What do we do?
This particular situation. They had a no-knock warrant. If you put anyone in a situation of heightened stress like that, and I get they're supposed to be trained, if you take those type of scenarios, because they go in there and they're supposed to be, they bum rush the place, they go, If what they're saying is true, and this was for a possession, this was not to get a person who was a murderer or whatever. This was to get some kind of information, some kind of something from that particular.
Why would they go at night?
Home. Why do a no-knock warrant?
Right. It doesn't make sense.
That's my point. So the whole policy of the police force and how they handle things is poor because there's no reason for you to have that kind of aggression just to pick up a piece of property. Yep. They could have easily knocked on, boom, 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 open up police.
But it comes back to it doesn't matter whether it's no knock warrant or a knock warrant or ring the doorbell warrant or whatever kind of warrant. You know what I mean? They see a black person, they become more aggressive. You know what I mean? And they just start shooting. Look at Philando Castile. The man was sitting in his car. He said, "I got a gun. I have a permit to carry." Went to reach for it, and the guy shot him. Look at the guy that was running away from the cops, and they just shot him in the back. You know what I mean? We just saw a video where the state police shot a guy 49 times, something crazy like that. It's just something about black people that just there is a percentage. There's a percentage of white people who just don't like black people. So I don't see a fix. How do we just try to keep those people away from us? That's the only solution I see. Just find a way to keep those people away.
There is no for determining who those people are.
If everybody Jane Elliott and a Jess Miller, we wouldn't have a show.
Yeah, we need more Jane Elliott's and Jess Millers.
Yeah, and Robbins.
The world will be a much better place.
Yeah, I mean, I know we sit on this show and we talk about white people this, white people that, white people white, but we all have some very, 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 very good white friends. So, and those people that are watching and they're white, they know we're not talking about them, but it's enough of those kind of white people that makes us have these kind of conversations.
Yes,
Yeah.
I voted for Trump.
It's like when Tanya and Pam say, "All men suck, all you men suck," and we got.
I never say that.
Evan and I gotta go. You know, I'm just.
You never win an argument with absolute.
All just 67%.
You know, when women say,
except for the three on this show.
Exactly. Except for you guys are perfect.
Y'all are perfect.
Y'all are perfect.
You know,
Perfect.
We get what they're saying. But there's a lot of men that do certain things, so they have the right to say, you know, you meant this or you meant that. So, but we don't get upset. Kevin and I don't get upset.
And even with that, there's a certain type. Just like
so you're saying I get upset, Carl?
No.
Either that or he's saying that you're not in the male grouping.
Because
I don't know.
When we're having those conversations, Des, you're gone already. So yeah, you're usually gone.
True.
We have those conversations.
Papa duty.
Yeah.
Papa duty.
Yeah.
Take care of his business.
All right. So
Yes.
we're gonna wrap it up, but I know we these police shootings, I can almost guarantee, and I hate to say this, that it's gonna happen again.
Oh yeah.
Because my theory is we've seen the videos and we've seen the photos. Really, I've never seen a video of black people being lynched and white people just standing at the bottom of the tree, just looking up and smiling and having parties and stuff. Those white people still exist.
Yep. And their grandkids are still alive.
And their offspring, yeah.
Yep. Hitler's nieces and nephews still alive in science. Oh, look that up.
Those people still exist. So as evidence, some of them are police, you know what I mean? Yep. And think about this. Somebody mentioned this online and I thought it was so true. We worried about the police shooting black people. What about the white doctors that feel the same way those police do?
Yep.
Right?
We have it up from all angles, Carl.
Yeah.
The food industry, the freaking liquor industry, everything.
We're focused on the police because the police are visual. They're right there for us to see. But, you know, there's documentation of white doctors not giving black people the correct treatment just because they're black.
Yep.
You know.
Talked about that in the Great Black Detox.
Yeah. So I don't know what the fix is for all this. We can do is talk about it. We can shed some light on it. You know, hopefully some people that
we're gonna clone Jess Miller.
We're gonna clone. Yeah, that absolutely.
And Gina.
Yes, we're gonna clone Jess Miller, Gina Fiore, Jane Elliott.
Yes. Robin
Alfred.
Alfred.
Not going to end in this country. We're too far gone, man.
All the what I call the CWPs, the cool white people.
Well, if they really want us out, and I'll tell you this, Biden, if you're listening, if you can remember this, if you're really serious, give me my piece of land and my little bit of cash, and I'll be deuces. I'll be out. I'll be the first one on the first plane out. First one.
Unfortunately, there's millions of people that think like Donald Trump and David Duke, and not millions of people that Jess Miller or think like Jane Elliott, and that's the problem. Yeah, we have so many beautiful, great white Americans, family members, friends. You know, I talk about it in my book. My stepdad was a white man, and I talk about him in my book. One of the greatest people in my life. You know, shaped me. I'm where I'm at today because of him. You know, of some of his input. You know, in my life. So we're not racist. We all know white people. We all have white people in our life. You know, on many levels that are great to us and part of our life. But we're just calling out. We're calling out the evil that exists, and we can't ignore it. And there's so much of it in America right now, you know. So that's why we're here. We're calling them.
And we're processing it. We're processing it as it's in real time.
Yeah. There's no secret potion to change anything. What happened over the last 400 plus years continue to happen over the next 400 plus years if this planet lasts that long. Unfortunately, there's no cure for this. This cancer ain't going nowhere. It's eating America apart, and it's only gotten worse. And no, it's not Donald Trump's fault. Everybody that he just emboldened these people to think like they're thinking out more aggressively than they have been over the last maybe 20 years, So, and it's full-fledged. It's a lot of shit going on. We're going to talk about it on the 5 Black Comics over the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. What I learned tonight, which I always knew, that white people are not allowed. Well, I can't say allowed, but once you say the word nigger, you are
canceled.
It's over.
Cancel with a black guy.
And so what would Jesus do? Would Jesus forgive a white person for using the nigger?
He would, but I'm not Jesus.
Right. And I'm not Jesus either.
Yeah. Jesus never got pulled over by a white cop and had a gun stuck in his face. So
that would be a good parody.
Yeah. See, Jesus, because Jesus was black. Jesus was black, right? So if Jesus,
oh my Lord, oh here I am.
If Jesus came back and was driving out,
that's hilarious.
First of all, the white cop would not believe it's Jesus because he's black.
I need some more ID.
Yeah. Especially if he was drinking wine too. It's Jesus.
I need your license and your registration, please. Here you go. He's like, oh wow.
Jesus was driving a glass of wine, and he's trying to tell a cop, it used to be water 5 minutes ago. It was water. Officer.
Hilarious.
5 seconds ago.
We should do something with that. We should write that in there.
That's a funny joke. Funny joke.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you guys. Anybody else learn anything tonight other than me learning that white people cannot say, well, they can, but if you say the word nigger and you're white, you're done. You know what I mean? Because it comes with lots of pain. If you don't understand why black people get so upset, because that word has a lot of pain attached to it. Mm-hmm. Right? You wouldn't go to a children's cancer ward and make fun of the bald kids, would you? You know what I mean? You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't go to a veterans hospital where people lost limbs and make fun of amputees. So why is it okay to make, you know what I mean, to talk about black people when, you know, we come from pain and you cause the pain. Right. White people act like they have no idea what we're talking about. you know.
That's what happened 400 years ago. I was like, then why are you still doing shit?
You did it.
But to add to what you were talking about with black people do it, I think we have learned, we have developed a knack for trying to be happy in all of our misery. Yes. And I think that's part of that whole thing of embracing that word and take the edge off and to bring it into close to our hearts in a positive way, because in all that we have endured, we have been able to look. We took chitlins and made it into something that would supposedly taste good, because I ain't never touching it. But so I think that's kind of part and parcel of what we do. We take the dirt that was given to us and make it into a delicacy.
You're still here. Still I rise. Go ahead, Des. You got that I gotta go look on your face. Go ahead.
We also learned, past my bedtime.
Yeah.
We learned we have the smartest people that follow us on the planet. These people are really sharp. TW posts some really good comments. Erica, and there's a few other people, Jess Miller, and of course Gina. We're very grateful for all you. Yes. We learned we got a long way to go. We're doing it step by step. This is like each grain of sand we got to pull apart. This is not a overnight fix unless everybody decides that they want this to be their focus, then it'll be done. But otherwise, we got to do it grain by grain.
All right. Pam, did you learn anything today?
Oh, a long drive to Philadelphia to get that sweater back to Bill Cosby.
Oh, Des?
I was on 95 and make a left.
I'm matching everything.
Right.
Anybody else learn anything? Did you learn anything? Anything on this?
Yeah, I learned that laughter heals all wounds, or at least opens them up and makes them not feel so salty. So you have to learn to take the good with the bad, let's just say, and process. So I like that we try to help people process, even if it's not the conventional way. We have to be able to talk about it, get it out, and then breathe, and then go to the next level. So that's all. So I appreciate everything that you guys.
Right. I learned that comedian Garfield is a brilliant mind in America right now, and he's a bad dude. Garfield's a bad dude, man. I mean, on stage.
I love him. I would love to have him on the show. I'm trying so hard to get him on the show. Godfrey, if you're watching, if anybody knows Godfrey,
phone calls, man. I'll make some phone calls too.
Yeah,
I know we have some mutual friends.
Because I want to know, how do you say that stuff? How do you bring that truth and still keep working in Hollywood? That's the secret I need to know.
He's not working in Hollywood.
He's not in Hollywood.
He's not working in Hollywood. He's the only African brother that wasn't in Coming to America.
Yeah.
Wow.
All the Africans that were in Coming to America too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Godfrey wasn't in there.
Godfrey wasn't in there. He wasn't even called to be part of it. They even I won't mention nobody. They even hired a kid to be in the movie that wasn't even African, but they skipped over the movie. Yeah, for many reasons. One, he's so talented. A lot of comedians are
his impressions are dead on, man.
And comedians are threatened by him because he's very talented too. Yeah. So you know how that goes in this.
I would liken him to a current day Dick Gregory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He brings the heat, man. I love that he brings the heat. You know what I mean? Fuck all that financial bullshit. You know what I mean? Bring the heat.
He says a lot of things, and he can back up with his facts. He's not a slouch.
Sometimes you don't give a fuck. But you can not give a fuck. You cannot give a fuck when you got a couple $1 million laying in your bank account, and that's all you need to get by.
Yeah.
I ain't nobody down. I'm just saying.
And what your expectations are for yourself,
Yeah. Hey. And you got to follow it. See, Paul Mooney had a following. Paul Mooney wasn't in Hollywood either, but he had a following. Paul Mooney can always go to a comedy club on a weekend somewhere in America or a small theater and sell out,
Yeah.
But
Paul Mooney also did a lot of writing, right?
He did a lot of writing.
He was a joke writer.
In his later years, made most of his money just traveling comedy clubs and selling his CDs at shows,
Mm-hmm.
All right, we want to thank everyone for checking us out tonight. Thank you so much, and we love all of you. And we don't say that just because we can. We appreciate the time you spent with us. As the cliche goes, you could have been anywhere else in the world tonight, but you were here with us, and we truly appreciate it. So let me shout out a few people. I'm not going to get to everyone, as I always say. Blessed Glasgow. Thank you so much for checking in on YouTube. Jess Miller, of course. Jess, we love you. Norma Staley, we love you. We're working on that clone for you, Jess. TW from YouTube, thank you so much for checking in, brother. Keith Weston checking in on YouTube. Being Black in America is endless nightmare. Endless. Why don't you go back to your country?
So I'm trying to get that, but they just won't give me money for the plane fare.
Just as soon as they go back to theirs.
I need my land, please. When you give me back my land.
Nashi Beller, I think she said to call her B. B, thank you so much for checking in. Pamela Jones, we miss you. I don't know where you are.
Pamela.
Yes, Pamela usually checks in. I'm not. Yvonne Williams, did I say that right? Yvonne Williams Simmons?
Yeah, that's my friend, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we truly appreciate you. We're going to go out on a video that's going to pretty much sum up what we were talking about tonight. So here we go. Where is Here we go.
When you enslave black people, but they gain liberty, so you go to war. But you lose, so you segregate black people, but they don't disappear. So you lynch black people, but they form self-defense squads. So you declare those terrorist organizations. But their calls for equality gain popularity. So you shoot their leader, but they don't disappear. So you settle them in houses full of toxic lead, but they don't all die. So you train cops to kill them instead. So then they protest it. And you ask them why they are complaining.